Hello, this is Dr. Farley, and just making another video to help you guys out if you guys are kind of stuck with how to approach this paper. I've been helping many of you with your topics and other things as you're going through in your research. So I just thought I would take a few minutes to go through a couple of different approaches here. For those of you who are interested in discussing different themes of the book through the book itself, this is going to be considered a literary analysis. For those of you who have submitted your discussion for in your bibliographies and such, we've kind of gone through some of this, but hopefully you'll find this helpful just to help lay out the steps and help understand what is going to be required if you take this approach. All right, so literary analysis is going to come from when we take a look at the novel itself, The Dewbreaker. So the first thing you're going to be doing is taking textual examples from the novel and thinking about what sort of messages and themes are present in this book. What's the author trying to say when she is recounting the plot and characters and other things here. So you'll see related on the bottom. Characters, plot line, setting, symbols throughout the book, as well. So as you're sort of thinking about the different aspects of the writing and words and all those things that the author so artfully crafts along the way, and that's what those first discussions were really about, is trying to understand what the book means to the reader, and also finding quotes that are going to substantiate that. So that's where you're going to start there to help understand how does this novel illuminate some elements of truth to us about our real world. From that, as you can see from the novel, we're sort of looking for meaning and how it applies to our lives in real life. And we're taking that real life and using that as context to support the things that are happening within the novel as well. And I'll go on to explain this in 1 second. So just as a sort of a random example here that I've decided to use, I want to show you kind of how the different layers of evidence will be shaping up as you're going through your literary analysis. So in this particular example, what I've chosen as my thesis, in other words, the meaning of the book, the central meaning that I want to explore for the novel, and there are many, obviously, is about Haitian immigrants from the Duvalier era. So I want to look into the lives of those who immigrated from Haiti either during or after the Duvalier dictatorship. So what is it? What sorts of things happen to these people in their lives along their journey? Many different things. So again, in this example, something I've chosen to get into, and you'll see the first there for textual examples. I'm looking for examples within the novel itself, and I'm finding quotes from the novel about dictatorship. So I'm pulling out, in other words, the sort of historical pieces of the novel, and I'm finding quotes about those particular characters in relationship specifically to the Duvalier dictatorship. You'll also see in the section that follows quotes from the novel about trauma. So one of the main things I'm going into, and this may not be the only thing here, again, I'm just sort of using a brief example for the point of this presentation, but say one of the things I'm looking into is trauma here from these immigrants. So I'm going to look throughout the novel itself for evidence of characters and the trauma that they carry from the experiences of that Duvalier dictatorship. All right, so I've got a bunch of quotes from the book itself that are kind of representing a lot of the ideas I feel like are interesting in this novel. And so what I'm going to do to sort of build a research paper around them is to find a variety of different sources that add context to these things. So I have quotes from the novel about the Duvalier dictatorship, and now I'm going to search for other sources as well that are going to provide me some historical context, so some factual evidence that will help the reader understand more of the what was actually happening in Haiti and with Duvalier, with the sort of henchmen that he had used, including the dew breaker, right? So sort of providing the actual evidence of what had happened at that time. I'm also going to look into the political context of Haiti itself as a country and its development into that time, and how power was able to be wielded by Duvalier. In addition to those types of things, from the traumatic aspect of the characters themselves, the dictatorship is looking more on the social level. Trauma is looking on the personal level here. So what I wanted to do was find some sort of psychological studies here to help us understand how people who have lived in these circumstances, such as those experienced by the characters in the novel, how they process and work through trauma in their lives. All right, so I have some ideas of what I want to explore in the paper. That's what I'm starting out with my thesis. I've got my quotes from the novel that are helping me shape my ideas here, and then I'm finding the contextual clues to help give expert information to add to what I have for my textual analysis. All right, so the types of sources that you see here, to reiterate, obviously first is from the novel itself. Once I have those quotes, and that's obviously going to be the most quoted of all the sources by a long shot. After that, we have other primary sources. So from the historical or political, we have the histories of Haiti, perhaps personal accounts of people who had lived through those times. Reportage of things, so news events, other sorts of first-person accounts. There's also lots of scholarship about Haiti, about the process of immigration, and even Haitian immigration specifically, and also the trauma that comes not only from oftentimes the circumstances that happened before, but just the trauma that naturally occurs when you are leaving your homeland. So all of those things are going to be important aspects and elements of what I'm saying from my characters, so I'm going to use those sources to support those types of things. You'll see there at the bottom there secondary sources. Obviously this is a book that other people will have looked into as well, or literary scholars, so you can also look into what others have said about the book and their analysis of the text and other things like that. They might have something in particularly illuminating that you can use in your book as well. Obviously, as academics are constantly quoting each other and reading each other's work and having that as support as well. So those types of secondary sources. What I mean by secondary source is it's not direct information, say, about the Duvalier dictatorship. It is someone's interpretation of the text, just as you are interpreting the text in your paper as well. All right, so you've decided to do a literary analysis. In other words, you want to bring in the characters and the plot and the setting and the different aspects of the novel into your research paper. When you've made that decision, you found quotes from the novel that will help sort of illuminate those specific themes you've talked about. You've also found contextual examples to put in there as well. So do we have a sort of order of events, the things that you need to do to be able to achieve these things? That's kind of the end product of the structure of the paper. So as far as the steps you need to be taking, first one, of course, is to determine what topic you want to explore. So we've talked about various themes. I know many of you have put them out. A lot of you had not sort of decided fully in your fourth discussion, and that's perfectly fine. But as you're progressing through the research process, you're obviously going to have to decide at some point so that you can be focused in your work. So you want to do that. Figure out what is it exactly that you want to develop in your paper. Again, you are searching for the meaning. What does this novel mean to us as readers? Once you do that, you want to hone down your quotes. So you either want to find additional quotes, assemble the ones you've already taken from previous discussion boards that we've done this semester. So find and assemble your quotes from the novel that concern your topic. I would say start from there and see how those can begin to take a shape for your paper. So, what are the overall sort of subtopics that I'm going to use, or that you're going to use, in order to explain your main thesis? So as you're looking for those, try and kind of chunk those into bigger sections or subtopics so that you can slowly break those down into smaller sections as well. All right, so once you have your quotes, you've kind of figured out how those quotes fit together and ordered events and things like that. You're going to need those contextual sources. So that's step 4, find outside sources to provide additional context and expert insight, including secondary sources. So these are other literary critics. This is historical information. This is, social theory, sociology. This is psychological theory. This is whatever scholarly work you want to get into. All of those things, and however you're approaching your specific paper, are going to illuminate various aspects of the things that you've discussed through your quotes that you found in the novel. Once you have all that information in front of you, this will be a few weeks down the line from where we're at now. You can sort of figure out the final structure for your paper, and you will be ready to draft. All right, I hope that's been helpful in sort of laying out the groundwork of expectations and the types of things you need to be looking for, things you need to be thinking about, and also an order of events. So if you do have any questions about this, please let me know. And I'm here to help you along with topics, with thinking about subtopics, trying to find ideas, trying to look for sources, really any aspect of the research process. I'm here to help out on. Feel free to ask your peers as well. We're all here to collaborate so that each one of you can have a successful project. All right, thank you all for listening. I hope that's been helpful. Please let me know if you want additional information. Thank you.